All right, this video is going to be a comparison video of two safety squat bars. So this is a Bells of Steel premium safety squat bar, and the one next to it is branded Kratos, and you're probably thinking, what the fuck is Kratos? And that's because, so far as I know, this company doesn't actually exist. This is an EliteFTS SS Yoke bar, and EliteFTS got a new supplier, and their old manufacturer had a couple dozen bars that Elite didn't buy, and had them left over, so they just rebranded. They put this logo on them and sold them in the used market. And I was able to get my hands on one. So this is an Elite Fitness SS Yoke. This is a Bells of Steel premium safety squat bar. And I'm going to give you my thoughts about these two. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you why. So I bought this Bells bar, and I'm returning it, and I'm keeping this Elite bar. And I'll tell you the number one deal breaker as to why that is I have a Rogue Monster Light rack. So it's a 3x3 rack, and Rogues, I'm told, are a little bit wider racks. This Bells bar doesn't really fit well in the J-cups. So if I put it in here, it cocks over like this, and all the weight rides right on this edge, and it rides on the inside of this camber here. So I didn't like that very much. Most people don't have full-size 3x3 racks in their house. If you've got an Infinity series from Rogue or any other 2x3, or if you've got a Bells rack, which is a 2.3 by 2.3, I think there are a bunch of other companies, MyForce and, you know, all the other ones that sell imported racks. A lot of them are 2.3 by 2.3 or something in that ballpark. So this will fit all those, and that won't be a problem for you unless you have a 3x3 wide, a 3x3 rack that's as wide as this Rogue. It's pretty close. If it were maybe 1 or 2 inches wider between the cambers, it would fit. And then it really wouldn't be a problem. And I probably wouldn't have went to Ohio to buy this Elite bar from the manufacturer. So let's talk about a few of the differences here. So the sleeves are very different. First of all, the overall length is different of the bars. The Elite's 91 inches. The Bells is either 84 and change or 86 and change. I can't remember. But some of that is in sleeve length, and then some of that obviously is in the difference or the distance between the cambers, because that bar does fit in my J-cups just fine. The Elite bar is all clear powder coat, while the Bells bar has black zinc on the bar and bright zinc on the shaft. I actually consider the powder coat a negative for the Elite bar. So it's real nice and pretty up here where it's not going to be damaged. But they powder coat the sleeve, which I think is a really stupid thing to do, because you're going to slide plates on and off of this, and it's going to chip this like crazy. And everybody who's got one of these bars, it's all chipped up. So I don't love that about this bar, but I'll live with it. I think the finishes on the Bells are a better option. So I think this is a better selection to have a plated option on the sleeve and then just a regular coating on the shaft. Now the next thing to talk about is collars. So this is the Bells collar is a standard 2-inch Olympic sleeve. Bells sleeve, rather. So any normal barbell collars are going to work just fine. The Elite bar has axle bar sleeves. So this doesn't really work. So you got to have specialty collars for this. And I'm not super happy about that. I think that's a downside as well. So sort of one important victory for the Elite, and 2 slightly less important victories for the Bells bar. Next, let's talk about the vinyl, the stitching, and the padding. What are you doing, puppy dog? So the vinyls are very different. The Bells vinyl is a very grippy, soft vinyl with a lot of grainy texture to it. The Elite has a very smooth, not very sticky vinyl on it. I can't speak to the resilience of either of these, so I don't know which one's going to be more tear resistant. If they were both equally tear resistant, I would say the B.O.S has a better vinyl on it because it's grippier. So I like that. I like that better. The stitching is very different between these bars. So the Elite bar has much better stitching and a little nicer Velcro. You can see nice, clean, straight stitching here. This is kind of all over the place. It's got a big wiggly line in it. There's threads that have pulled out and they're stuck in the Velcro. There's loose threads everywhere. They're pulling out in a couple places. So the stitching on the B.O.S bar is not as good. This has got better stitching on it. The padding is something I can't seem to make up my mind about. So they have, again, very different padding. This B.O.S bar, and I think the Titan as well, have this one-piece sort of carpet pad option. So it's pretty dense, but it's also pretty squishy. I can fairly easily put a big divot in this. It's very comfortable, but I'm not a big squatter right now, so I'm not real sure, you know, what this feels like with big weight on it. I assume it's fine. I also don't know how well that's going to hold up over time, if it's going to break down. This one, the Elite Fitness one, has got a different approach. So they've got a similar strip of carpet pad, but it's sandwiched over the top of what feels like a pool noodle, essentially, a very, very dense pool noodle. So it's a much firmer, I can't push big divots into this. It's much firmer. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because I just don't know about this kind of padding. I don't know about the properties in terms of how they break down or break in over time. So I'll have to leave that decision to you. I'll say out of the box, the B.O.S is a more comfortable bar because it's softer and it molds around your shoulders a little bit better. This, I've heard Dave Tate talk about it breaking in over time. So, you know, hopefully that'll do that, and then it'll be nice and comfy too. It's not bad as it is. It's just not as nice as the B.O.S. The handles are the same. The B.O.S had a little bit of rust on the handles. So that's just a quality control issue that they said they're aware of. Other than that, they're not that different. So the story here, I already told you that they got a new supplier and they were getting rid of these. So I paid about $200 for this B.O.S bar, but that was on the day of release. So the retail is $250. I don't know how often they run sales. I'm not on their website that much. So maybe you can get it a little under $250, and it has free shipping. This bar, which, unless you're watching this video right when it comes out in December 2019 and you live near Columbus, Ohio, you can't get this from Kratos. And I think they only had 5 or 6 left when I bought this one today. Damn it, dog. What the fuck's he barking about? Hey, shut up! And anyway, this bar, if you buy it new from Elite, they don't actually have any right now because they're transitioning suppliers, so it's out of stock. But when they get new ones, I don't think the price is going to change, but it retails at $425 plus shipping. And so they run a lot of sales at Elite, and you can usually get this somewhere like $330. I don't recall if that's with free shipping or not. I think more often than not, it's you still have to pay some shipping, so it's still going to be about $400. So this is about a little over half the money that this bar is. I have to say, if I had a rack that was not this rack, if I had a narrower rack, and I bought this Bell's bar, I probably just would have kept it and been perfectly okay and happy with it. I sort of didn't have a whole lot of choice and had to step up to this bar for the sake of the rack. And I'm happy to have it because I was able to get it much cheaper than what I would have paid buying it directly from Elite. But it would have been a really hard choice if I was forced to pay retail for either one of these. The Elite bar costs more because, one, it's an American-made bar, and I have kind of a bias here. I really like American goods, and I will pay more for them. Oftentimes, I'll pay substantially more for them. I don't know if I'd pay double in this case. That's a bit too steep. And then also, it's more expensive just because that's Elite's market share. So Elite is a very top tier, high price company up there with Rogue, where Bell's is a budget oriented brand. So, they're a little more price sensitive on their things. So all in all, I think, there's one more thing that needs to be said. So Titan Fitness makes a bar that is essentially this bar, the Bell's bar, but without rotating sleeves. It does have Olympic-sized sleeves like this, so it's not the smaller axle bar sleeves, but they are not rotating, and the whole bar, including the sleeves, is coated in aesthetic chrome. I think other than that, they're the same. I don't know if the vinyl's the same. The padding appears to be the same. I have seen people say online that those bars also don't fit in 3x3 Rogue racks. So if you've got a rack like this, you're kind of stuck with the Elite bar if you want a Yoke bar. I'm sure the Rogue safety squat bar fits in this rack too, but who the hell wants to buy that thing? So yeah, if you've got a narrower rack and you're kind of pinching pennies, I would say probably go ahead and stick with Bell's. I've made another video about this, and this bar does have some quality control issues. You can watch the video why I'm returning my Bells of Steel Premium Safety Squat Bar to find out more about that. But there's a big difference working through issues with Bells versus working through issues with Titan. You can't get a hold of Titan, and you're going to have a part-time job trying to get service out of them. Half the time when I order stuff from them, now I don't buy very much from Titan, but they send me something that's completely different than what I ordered. And I don't know. I tend to side with Alan Thrall about Titan Fitness. I just don't care for them very much. And I know a couple guys who work for Bell's. One of them's a local friend of mine. And then I've kind of interacted with the owner, Kayvon, a couple times on the web, and they're good guys, and their service is quite a bit better than what you're going to get from Titan. I've seen mixed reviews online about Bell's service. Some people have had issues in the past with them, but I personally haven't had any of those issues. So, I mean, if I'm just speaking from my own experience, I've had a pretty positive viewpoint of how they handle things. So I actually emailed Kayvon about the return of this bar and about my concerns with some of the design problems. And he wrote me back a nice lengthy email where he told me all about, the stuff that he was aware of. He wasn't aware of all the issues, but he was aware of most of them. And he kind of let me know what he was working on and sort of why some of the decisions were made. Things like the bushing, not having a bushing in the sleeve, and sort of the rationale for why things are the way they are. And I really appreciated that he did that. So, you're not going to get an email from the owner of Titan telling you why their stuff is having problems and that they're working on it. So anyway, that was kind of my overall take on this, and I thought it'd be interesting for people to compare and contrast these two bars. Do with that what you will. Bye.